So our annual planning, goal setting, and reflections webinar continues. Rume Daniels speaking here. I trust that you have your writing materials with you and that you are ready to go. All right, so we've spoken to the subject of what goals are, all right, what goal setting is, where goals come from. And then we've spoken about the benefits of goal setting, why we need to set goals. And we have mentioned quite a number of them, from the fact that it allows us to take control of our life's direction. It provides a benchmark for, determine whether we're actually succeeding on that journey or not. It gives us focus, helps us measure progress, it helps us stay motivated. And I love this one, like I said earlier, it helps us to beat procrastination. And then as a team, it helps us to collectively commit and stay dedicated. This is it. This is where key performance indicators help to drive performance, top performance, ruthless execution of goals. All right. So, JC Penny, give me a stock clerk with a goal. In other words, an ordinary person, a lowly human being. Just give me anybody with a goal, and I'll show you somebody who's going to make history. But give me a man who is careless with goals, who will say, I beg, I don't send. That's a careless person who will end up as an ordinary person. That's what J.C. Penny says. So let's talk about principles of goal setting very, very quickly. These are very important principles. I want you to take note of some of these principles. Number one is that you need to set goals that motivate you. In other words, like we said, goals come from our mission, our life's purpose. We extend that life purpose by visions, what we can see, how far we want to go. So if you want to build something gigantic and enormous, like we saw from the beginning, all right, you say you have to sit down. So how then do you want to accomplish those goals? I mean, the vision that you have seen, rather, you break it down into goals. But you don't set ordinary, mundane goals. You must set goals that excite you, goals that make your blood literally tickle, goals that excite you every morning. You wake up to them, and they're living, breathing, goals. Like I said earlier, living goals that keep you breathing, not the one that want to kill you, and not the one that make you very lackadaisical and relaxed, but goals that are exciting, daily goals that excite. For instance, if you are the kind of person who wants to work on your personal development, you can't say you read a book, one book every 3 months. That's a lazy goal. That's a lazy goal. In other words, you're saying for the whole year 2024, you're going to read only 4 books. You finish only 4 books. That's a lazy goal. All right. When I was much younger, it was 1 book every week, 52 every single year. All right. I've reduced it much so now. All right. And let me just say, I do half of that now. Practically do half of that. All right. This month of November, it's been an amazing one because of some other things we're trying to accomplish. Had to increase on all of those personal development goals. I'll not go into details, but you need to make those goals motivate you. All right. Then second principle is that your goals must be smart. And this I'm sure you know about before now, but I want to draw your attention to them again. And we have characteristics of a smart goal. A smart goal is one that is specific. Don't have goals that do not have, definite, tangible things you want to achieve. If part of your goal is to be healthy in the new year, don't just say, I want to be healthy. No. You want to say that specifically between now and the end of the year 2024, you want to have dropped 10 kg and stay healthy that way. And then you break it down to monthly goals. How do you want to do that? That every month you would lose 10 kg. I mean, 2 kg rather, or 1 kg. Yeah, specific. Let's take financial goals. If you want to have $1 million at the end of the year, do you just say that and say that's what you want to achieve for 2024? No, you now have to be specific. every month I will commit to saving 100,000 naira or 50,000 naira. As a case, that's being specific. All right. And then, of course, smart goals are measurable. All right. How am I doing? Am I making progress? You are not trying to achieve everything in the whole year in 2 months. No, you are trying to break it down to measurable habits that allow for sustainability. All right. And then, of course, smart goals are attainable. Attainable. Please don't set goals, unrealistic goals that break a man, that kill a man's spirit. One of the causes of unfulfilled goals is when we set unrealistic goals, goals that are not attainable. All of a sudden, you now say goal setting is not working. No, you have to be, practical about it. That's why I said earlier, all right, that goals is just like, life is like life's journey. There's a difference between a marathoner and a 100-meter, dash. Someone who runs a marathon knows that he has to pace his run. But a 100-meter dash can be done in less than 1 minute and you're done. You've gotten your medal. In 9 seconds, you're done. You've gotten your medal. You don't run, a marathon in 1 minute. Nobody does that. And life is like that. So what you see at the games, athletic games, it's not like that in life. All right? Life is it's you have to pace it. You have to pace it. So a lot of people who have these unrealistic expectations of how they want to achieve their New Year's resolution lose out their motivation and burn out very quickly. By the first quarter of the year, they're already gone and they're back to old habits. All right. But when you create a routine that is attainable, that is realistic, then of course that becomes very, very key. I love the fact that smart goals must be relevant. In other words, they have to be relevant to your journey. They have to be applicable to your journey. Don't set unrealistic goals. If you are trained to be a medical doctor, your goal cannot be to learn how to, fix a whole engine. How has repairing car engines got to do with becoming the best surgeon? It doesn't make sense. If you are setting up your goals for 2024 to become proficient in a digital skill, say cybersecurity, you cannot be setting goals to become the best accountant, or rather, except you have a career in accounting. So your goals have to be relevant to your vision, have to be relevant to your journey, or else it will be a waste of energy. And then a smart goal is time bound. You have to set specific goals with time schedules to them. Every month, at the end of every month, I will save XYZ. That is a specific goal that is time bound. By the end of June 2024, I would have done XYZ. That is a deadline. When you don't put a deadline to it, it's become open-ended and it might never get done, especially for procrastinators. All right. So another major principle for goal setting is that goals must be written. Goals must be written. Don't just have them in your head. Don't just have them in your head. Goals that are written are more alive and living than goals that are just in the head. Goals that are in the head can be forgotten. The bluntest pencil is sharper than the longest memory. The bluntest pencil is sharper than the longest memory. Write it down. The Holy Book teaches us that even the Almighty God wrote with his hand. There's a story about the fact that Moses, one of God's very important people of old, went up to the mount to collect, instructions. We call them commandments on getting down. He broke them. And these were commandments that God wrote with his hand. He broke the tablets. By the time he went back to collect a fresh one, this time God forced him to write it by himself. And guess what? When he came down the second time, he did not smash it because he knew how painstaking it was to write. Part of the discipline of goal setting is to sit down to write. Remember what was said earlier at the foundation of our class this evening. The Christ spoke clearly. He said, who is he that wants to build a skyscraper, a tower, achieve great things? Would he not first sit down to count the cost? Will he not first sit down to create a blueprint, to strategize? And in strategy, you can't be having ideas in your brain and not put them down. You forget them. You have to write them down. You have to write it down. Another reason why you must write is that sometimes you need, in fact, not sometimes, one of the very important principles that allows for sustainability of your goals in terms of achieving them is having accountability partners. Trustworthy accountability partners that will not envy your goals and will not discourage you. The ones who will literally ensure that they are watching your back and causing you to ride on to fulfill your destiny. To do that, you have to have it written down, because the Holy Book also says, and the Creator speaking, he says, write down the vision and make it plain upon tablets, upon notebooks, so that anybody who sees it can run with it, can help you follow through, can understand what it is you want to do. You're going to say, I have goals. So let me end this by saying, many years ago in Harvard, a graduating class of engineering class were asked, how many of you have goals? Of the entire class, all right? So of 100, say about 100, more than 60 of them said, look, we don't have goals, all right? And that was it. Another set said, okay, we have goals, but it's not written down. But about 3% of the class says we have goals and they are written down. Now, these are 3 people, 3 sets. Set that said they don't have, second set that says they have was not written, and the last set that says they had and it is written. Exactly 10 years later, the ones that did not have goals at all were earning about 3 times less than the ones who had goals, all right, that were not written. While those who had goals that were written were earning exactly 7 times much more than the ones who had goals that were not written. Those 3 literally were doing 7 times better than their colleagues. All right, very, very important. And then, of course, make an action plan. It's not enough to have the goals. You must have action plan. An action plan is, this is what I want to achieve at this particular time. So you've put what, you've put when, and then an action plan is how. How do I want to accomplish this? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? What step by step? Some people say they want to lose weight. I want to register in a gym. The gym is too expensive. They have all manner of excuses. You have to find what works for you with what you have. You have to start from where you are with what you have. You have to have action plans that you can control, that are not controlled by other circumstances that you have no control over. All right? That's very important. So we will come to practicality of that post-conference, post-training. All right? And then, of course, a major principle is to stick with it. You don't start and say, we are not seeing any results. No, you don't see results. See, let me say, for most goals, they are not things you will see overnight. It is when you stick with it that you begin to see the results. All right? And then I love this principle. Very major principle. Goals are not achieved in a day. They are achieved daily. That's why you must stick with it. That's why you must stick with it. Let me give an example. Someone in the, here in terms of their spiritual goals now say, okay, I want to read 6 chapters or 5 chapters of the Holy Book every day. And then you are in a busy city where you wake up very early, you have to go, and then you find out that 5 working days in a week you are not reading anything, and then Saturday you decide to read 30 chapters all of a sudden. I say, I accomplished my goal of the week. What you have done is that you accomplished that goal for that week. You accomplished that. What you've done is that you accomplished that goal for that week, but you did not achieve that goal on a daily basis. Now, you must understand that while you're working on your goal is actually working on you. The process is more important than the outcome. I need that to sink. Even if you've heard it 100 times, I need it to sink. Tell yourself the process is more important than the outcome. So you must stay on the process. You don't jump from step 0 to step 5. No. If you jump, you will injure yourself. You go one step at a time. That process, that's the beauty of the goal. That's the beauty of the goal. That's the beauty of the goal. So let me quickly talk to the subject of balance very quickly. There are some people who set goals for their lives and they just focus mainly on their career and on their finances. They just tell you, you're coming here, I want to make more money. They even know how much, they know how. They've put strategies in place. I knew someone like that. Many years ago, all he just used to do was his business and his finances, nothing more. And as we grew a little older, because we worked together, I used to say to him then, my brother, my friend, please, you need to, especially with relationships, because I found out that was something that was not a very good place for him. I don't want to go into details, but he was struggling with that, with relationships, even with work, relationships. He was struggling. Very good guy, good with ideas. He was a choleric. So he didn't mind how things were achieved. He just wanted to achieve things. And he used to step on a lot of toes. And so he wasn't very mindful of building relationships. And I kept saying, look, you're good at what you do. You're an exceptional person in the boardroom, but you need to be able to know how to work with people. So I got materials for him, but he won't read it. He read materials on business strategy, on finance, business newspapers, business magazines. You see him there, business conferences and seminars, you see him there. But anything that had to do with other things in his life, nothing. So he was succeeding heavily. He was the kind of person who will succeed in a certain area, but you could tell this one will not do well as a family person. His children will suffer, his spouse will suffer, everything else will suffer around him. His siblings he will miss out on a lot of good things in life, just pursuing one side. So it was a one-sided, skewed planner. And there's some people like that. They'll say, I don't know how to do many things. No, you see this life? No. God has brought us into this life to juggle things. I'm not saying that you must run 20 careers. No, as a matter of fact, this is one generation where, and I'm going to come to that tomorrow, this one generation where you cannot say to yourself that, I studied banking and finance, I'm a banker. No. You must be a banker and then you must know other things. You must be other things. This is the generation where as a career person, you must be multi-skilled. This is the age of multi-skill. This is the age, especially as we transition into a more digital age in the fourth industrial revolution. I'm going to speak to this much more even tomorrow. But this is that age. So what I'm saying is that at no other time in our world have we required more balance than we live in now. Balance. Except you want to suffer in other areas. All right. So there are some people who know how to pray. They are very spiritual, but their finances suffer. No, that's not it. There are some people who are very, very mindful about their health. They take care of their health, but they will not take care of their spirit. Their spiritual life suffers. There's some people who are good with people. They have good relationships, all right? But, their career suffers. So we're saying, look, Rume, is it possible to juggle all of this? Look, I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm saying it's a must. It's a requirement. It's a requirement. And for ladies in here, I want to give a shout out to every professional woman in here who's working, who's growing a family. You know what I'm talking about. Amazing. If you've ever driven in a car with a woman, maybe a colleague who has a daughter or son in the car, you tell that this lady is driving. All right. Sometimes might put the phone on auto call to answer a colleague from the office. As soon as that goes off, she's literally helping her child or daughter to deal with certain questions from school. How was school today? Blah, blah, blah. And while that is happening, a call comes through from her husband. She's balancing things out, stops very quickly on her way home to see sometimes if she can even get groceries from especially those of us, just like myself and my wife, who didn't have house helps at home. All right. I'm telling you for certain that women are super amazing at balance. Something that men have not necessarily learned. We're always very, so I want to call on every man to please take note of this. It's not enough to just have business success, career success, financial success, and not plan for our families. All right. It's very, very important. So let me show you this. It's called the wheel of life. All right. I'm not the one who invented this. It's a living wheel. All right. It calls for balance, where you need to, so in that self there, that's where you call self-mastery. That's where your spiritual, awareness is. Look at personal development somewhere there. All right. Of course, there's financial, dimension of life there. There's your career. There's family and fun. I love family and fun right there together. There are some people who are married and for years they don't know how to play in their homes. Nothing, no games, no board games. All right, no. The only thing their children do is watch cartoon and use their phone and tabs to play games. But to play games with the children, all right, to spend time with the children, it's rare. All right. Some homes, and I'm speaking to young people as well, a lot of young people in here, please don't start your life like that. Don't think the thing you saw with father and mother is what we need to reproduce in our homes. No, no, no. I, for one, I never had my parents go on holiday with me, but I'm grateful for my mom who made the attempt. Different times in my life growing up, took me on holiday to Kaduna, took me places deliberately, helping me to understand there's that part of life. But even now, as I got married, I made it a must, a guaranteed must, to have holiday with my family, no matter even if it's just in the village. And you have to plan for it. Because even going on holiday now, especially now with the price of things, you realize you have to plan. What you don't plan for will not work. All right. A family you don't plan for will not work. If you used to go on movie nights and say you could take the family out every month and say it's too expensive now, why not plan it to ensure that, okay, for instance, my family, my kids know that daddy and mom are going on a specific holiday for 7 days without us. It's not part of the agenda. Nobody is going to come with us on that. We have to plan for it. The hotel rooms planned, things to do planned already. Our phones are switched off. We want to detox, no social media, no connection with family. We'll turn on the phones in the morning, spend time with our family for devotion, on the phone, and then in the afternoons when they're back from school, in the evening before they go to bed, that'll be it. But nobody else. Those plans are that if you don't make those plans, nothing else. And guess what? Life is a beautiful thing. What you don't make plan for, you don't. So it's seed and harvest. You have to sow into it. You have to sow into it. Some of us in this room, we don't have good relationship with our family members, with our parents, because deliberately there were no seeds sown in those areas. I'm one of such persons. God had to help me to overcome the bad relationship with my dad. All right. So you have to plan for it. You have to be deliberate. You have to have plans for your mental life, your career, your personal life, your physical health, your family. And in fact, you have to also include your spiritual growth. These things will not jump at you. These things will not jump at you. You have to plan for them. I hope you understand what I'm saying. I hope you understand what this is very, very important. I call for balance. I want you to speak to yourself where you are. I would live a balanced life. All right. It's not just money and career. I would live a balanced life. I'm not saying you have to give exactly equal attention to them, but make sure that you are giving attention to them. For instance, one of the things I have to learn, all right, if I have to have a speaking engagement to go and speak somewhere, whether it's Port Harcourt, Lagos, abroad, if it clashes with my wedding anniversary, I don't want to go. If it's clashing with, I don't. So I have to plan for all of that deliberately. All right. You have to fix in family relationships first before everything else. I know I am clergy. I know that I minister to a lot of people around. I know I'm a training consultant. I go to different organizations. But my first assignment on the earth is first my health and then my family. Every other person is a priority next to you. It's not the other way around. You can't run around and then when you are getting old, around 60, you want to start building a relationship with your family. No, that time is late. Oh, that time is late. The foundation is now. Is now. In your 2-year-old, in your 3-year-old, start establishing, putting the seed now. And for those of us who are still single, all right, please, this is important. I hope this makes a lot of sense to you. All right, so if you can see your screen very quickly, there's 7 areas I want to mention for your goal setting that you need to focus on in the new year. I'm going to show you how to do this much later, but right now, focus on these 7 areas. Your spiritual growth and development, please focus on this. We're living in very tough times. In fact, by now, you know, if you are not sound spiritually, and you're on the social media, you know that you can be corrupted. All right. This is the one generation that, all right. So personal development goals, very important. Career goals, very important. Your financial goals, very important. Relationship goals, very important. Your health, very important. Please set goals for your health. In the coming year, ensure you go and do a full blood count. Don't wait until you fall sick. Just 2 days ago, you know, I lost a dear friend who is also one of the human capital development personalities in this part of the country. When my wife and I went to meet my wife in the school, we run a school as a business, and I was there at the end of year party just yesterday, and I mentioned to her, she literally almost broke down in the open. I know it's a different, and then I told her what happened because she asked me what. I said, see, our friend was careless. He was having stomach pain, and one other friend of ours was telling him, please ensure you go and check this thing out. You're due for an operation. He now said no, he wants to attend one church event. He will go on Monday, which is tomorrow. He died on Friday. Sadly, by Friday night, he was rushed. The what do you call it now? Appendix had ruptured and he couldn't recover. That's just it. So please, we need to plan for our health. And some people say, I'm not old yet. Yeah, I know I'm in my early 40s right now. I'm more and more, we're deliberate about the things that we're eating. Deliberate. I don't miss my morning walks and my evening walks. It's deliberate. In fact, I don't need to even make plans for those. There are some things I don't put as goals anymore. That's just part of my life now. That's part of my life. So I will share with you how I used to set goals. If it works for you, I'll share with you what I'm doing now. And I'm going to also share with you what we're going to have to do going into this particular fast changing world. I'm going to end very quickly in a few minutes so that we can shut down for today. All right. So note that 2024 is a new beginning for some of us, new spiritual experiences, new thought patterns, new decisions to be made. And they said decisions determine destiny, new habits to be created. new lovely habits to be created, new savings culture. Don't say, I don't have enough money. You want to start a culture that says no matter how small, you squeeze out very little. I see. I want to say that again. Even if you are ending less than 50,000 naira here, in the coming year, ensure that at least 10% of that is saved. That's 5,000 naira. I see. That's a culture you must start in the new year. I hope somebody's hearing me. Okay. I see wedding bells ringing in the new year as well. So someone said, I've been wanting to marry. Personally, for me, I set a goal to be married for 3 straight years. It was the third year that it happened. I'll get married. I'll get married. So 27 going on 28, I finally got married. All right. Goals for relationships. New businesses will be started. New responsibilities will be taken. For some of us who have been avoiding certain responsibilities, may the new year give you the grace to take on those responsibilities. So new things in the new year. And then for many of us, in fact, all of us, 2024 is also a year of consolidation. In other words, we're going to continue doing the good things that we have started. The good things we have started, we will continue them. So this is a time to ask yourself, what do you want to start in 2024? What do you want to stop doing? And what do you want to continue? So what do you want to consolidate in? This is when to perfect that. And you need to answer those questions now. What are you going to start? What are you going to stop? And what are you going to continue? You have to understand that. You need to answer those questions if you are going to make progress in the coming year. All right. So I would love to talk about execution. All right. And I think I would pick up on that dimension of subject from here. But right about now, let me stop with regards to how much we have done tonight. All right. So we have literally covered a lot. You might not know, but we have covered quite a lot. We have covered quite a lot. We have covered quite a lot. And I hope that you are finding it in your heart to, take charge of those areas that we have made reference to. All right. Is there anybody here in this room who would like to say something?